Welcome to Season 2, Episode 13, which is the season finale this evening. Thank you very much for all of you who have joined in and are still joining in. I'm simply delighted. I have mixed feelings right now, a bit of sadness, a bit of happiness, uh, and a bit of fulfillment also. But more importantly, I'm super delighted to have this conversation with three of my very, very good friends and industry experts. We're going to speak on power of sales, balancing emotions, and the dilemma of metrics. Our first participant, or panelist, may I say so, is Mahima Bhutia. She's a hospitality professional and a sales and marketing expert. Mahima and I go back many, many years. We were in catering school together. And she was one of the first early students jumping into a work environment who chose sales and marketing. And she's made a success of the whole thing. She has almost 3 decades of experience, and she uses her talent and skills to understand consumers and brands. She's focused, driven, and extremely result-oriented leader. Mahima combines her skills and her key strengths in relationship building, product and service representation, and with her ability to perform in fast-paced competitive environments, she has endeavored to seek newer challenges always. She's been in the hospitality industry for 3 decades, as I said. She started a career with the Oberois. Then she's moved to the Renaissance Group, which was Marriott's first property, and many more thereafter. She also was in France for 10 years in a space of travel, and we'll talk a little bit more about her, and I'd love to her to share her experiences thereof. She's a creative problem solver with an ability to identify process gaps. She drives sales and revenue growth because of that. She offers a successful background of implementing brand and client communication programs also, besides trying to sell the hotel property or the travel packages that she does. Welcome aboard, Mahima. Second panelist is Sana Kazi. She's the Joint Managing Director and Chief Experience Officer with Sasha Integrated Services Private Limited. I've known Sana since almost 2 decades. I've seen her when she was young, brightly, spirited, and full of life. She would chase me uh, purely from the fact to get a feedback on whether things were all right or not with the professional services that she and her company were providing. I've always admired her for her zest and solving all the problems, sometimes even before it would reach us. Sana, thank you for joining in. Continue doing the great job that you are. Sana is gifted with talent of integrating the efforts of all teams towards the shared goal of a company. She's adept at relentlessly following up things till their closure. Imparting state-of-the-art training is her forte for all levels of employees, white and blue. She's also very adept at managing risks of all types: strategic, business, legal, contractual, operational, and reputational. I've seen Sana grow, and I'm extremely happy to where she has reached purely on the basis of her hard work, dedication, and the talent that she has. She's also a maestro in formulating contracts and agreements. And trust me, I've seen some of them from the other side, and I've always scratched my head and fought with her and otherwise asked her about a few changes to be made in a good way, legal, and wherever it was possible, she's done that. I loved about the fact that I loved about her was that she never compromised any legality, and she will never do so. Stay that way, Sana. She loves networking and prospecting for new clients. She's an expert in identifying and troubleshooting organizational problems, especially those that are related to guest satisfaction and the satisfaction of her internal customers, which are her staff. Thank you, Sana. Lovely to have you here. Last but not the least, a very dear friend, an ex-colleague of mine, is Inam Abul. Inam joins us from Dubai. He's the channel sales director for Middle East with Griffith Foods. Inam is a food ingredient sales professional to Middle East's largest food processors. He has over 25 years of experience in the culinary and the food and beverage industry. He has worked with some leading hospitality chains in India and globally. His experience includes extensive hands-on involvement in ideation, product development, and strategies for food service, food retail, and industrial food segments. He's now with Griffith Foods for the last 10 years. I've had the pleasure of rubbing shoulders with him and working together with him when I was with Griffith Foods. And I've seen him grow, handle clients, customers, people, staff, team members, and do a fantastic job. He's now based out of Dubai, as I said, and he's doing a fantastic job thereof. Inam, thank you very much for joining in and taking time. And with this, I'm going to stop the screen share and request all the three panelists to come back on the screen and we'll start our conversations. Thank you very much. Whilst we wait for everyone to come, audience, thank you for joining in. All of you who waved out, we are waving back to you. Each time you wave, please accept my waving back and the audience and the panelists waving back to you guys. The Q&A is there for you to pop in your questions and comments. I will take them up from time to time. Great. So if all of you can say a quick hello, the audience can see your faces and then I'll start.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay, great. One thing I like and love about sales and marketing professionals is that they're always smiling.
Yes.
Okay, great. So thank you guys for doing this and coming in. I am simply, delighted. I'm really happy that I've chosen this topic, and more importantly, the three of you to help me discuss and navigate this conundrum of sales. So thank you very much. All right. So before I get into the spicier part, I want to get off with some basics. I'd love to know how each of you have been handling the last 6 months on a personal level. And if there's any one learning that you have come across about yourself in the last 6 months, I'd love for you to share that. Sana, let's start with you. Mahima can join in, and then Inam can, end this round.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the kind words, Satyan. I'm pleasantly happy about it. So the last 6 months have been tough for everybody around, but thankfully for the facility management business that we are in, it's actually been tough for us as well, because we have a lot of blue collar staff, and we've been trying to hold the fort together with the compliances and with things that are happening all around. But fortunately for us, this lockdown period has been good. We've been reaching out to people. We've been doing a lot of video calls with clients. And honestly, the lockdown period for us has been good, touch wood. I have signed new contracts during this lockdown period, if I may say so. And they have been good contracts. All we're doing now is just waiting for this lockdown period to settle in, because I think this is going to be the new normal. So we've utilized this time to do a lot of trainings. I've done a lot of online trainings for our staff. I've done a lot of online trainings for our staff, and I think it's working well for us in the industry.
I know you want to jump in to talk about all the good things that you guys are doing, and I think if there's one industry that has actually bloomed in this pandemic is facility management. But I was more interested to know about personal learning. If something that you have realized a strength or a weakness of your own, that's what I'm interested in right now. Sana, you want to take that very quickly?
Yes, so I think one of the strengths that I have actually realized that we have the potential to is people accepting, going digital. So we've done a lot of trainings, video call, which earlier we thought, personal meetings have to be done, personal trainings have to be done. I think the acceptance of the entire digital space through this time has been a learning experience. This has given us time to even put our footprint on digital marketing, and we are seeing a difference. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. Mahima?
Well, I think it was a very well-deserved break for me. I've been working continuously for the past 3 decades, and being in hospitality means 9 to 1. There's no end to the day, right? I think as a person, I've grown to be a bit more patience. The patience have really come out as a big virtue for me, and to be, to learn. I was never patient. Being in sales, you have to be on the move all the time, and being in marketing all the time. So patience is what I learned a lot. Also, it also encouraged me to look at my inner talent, which I felt was a bit homey. I only baked for myself and my family or my neighbors or whatever. But it really helped me to come out of the little cocoon I was in and to start my own business, which is just culminated. And I started something very new and commenced only just 3 weeks old. So it really helped me to really get into practice and start, it all got me started thinking of what I can do for myself at this age. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Mahima. And I don't know if you've seen, but Irfan's joined in and he says, go Mahima. So thank you, Irfan. And thank you for everyone else who's joined in as well. Harsh, thank you. Yes, the song Believer is absolutely apt for sales and marketing professionals, but more importantly, I believe it's apt for everybody. But thank you for taking note and scribbling that note. Ina?
Hi. I think I had a mixed sort of a reaction to both Sana and Mahima's the experience they have shared. For me, the experience has been amazing, because as they say, every cloud has got a silver lining. I think this was for me because, the amount of learning which this has given me, this situation, about the various situations, various challenges, these are things which you have always read in your books, and now you are facing them in real life, and how you're going to react to it in quick time. Apart from the fact that I'm also realized that I'm actually addicted to binge eating as well, while sitting at home and probably doing online conferences and online meetings. But overall, it has been, worldwide, I know that it hasn't been a good effect. A lot of my friends, a lot of my family members, a lot of people have been affected. But I think overall it has been a good opportunity for me it's more like a reality test of situations and things we read in books. And now we are facing it in the real world.
Thank you. Thank you, Ina. Okay, so I've got the sugar part out and I want to get into the spicier part. I've always loved savories and spices. So in no particular order, I don't have any preference, but I'll start with Mahima this time. Mahima, suggestion from my side is, why don't you give us a quick overview of the hospitality industry, sales and marketing, and the travel industry? When I say overview, I'm not talking about, bookish knowledge, but where do we all know it's going to take time for a recovery process, right? In some countries and some regions, it has already started. But if you could throw some light about how real do you think this problem is going to last for a decent recovery to come back to, specifically with hotel sales, room sales?
Satyan, good question. To differentiate travel and hospitality into two segments. One is, of course, pure leisure and one is pure corporate. Obviously, with corporate movements getting into Zoom calls and doing a lot of webinars and of course, getting into a chat room which is very virtual, I don't think the corporate hotels they are the most impacted hotels right now, with very low occupancies right now, because there are no travelers, right? And also the companies are also prohibiting them not to travel because of safety measures. But on the brighter side, as Inam said, there's always every cloud has a silver lining. The best part is the resorts and the leisure luxury properties are really, really doing well. I was actually having a quick chat with a general manager in one of the resorts in Coorg, which is very high end. And he was amazed as to how last year versus this year, the occupancy and of course the ADRs and everything has really impacted his business, because everybody wants to be out in the wilderness and not in a crowded space. So I think going forward for the next 6 months or till Mr. Poonawalla comes up with his vaccines in India and overseas, I think there would be an impact, very, very severe impact on the corporate hotels. As I mentioned, but the boom for the leisure luxury property, which are sitting very, very in the niche areas and far away getaway places. Yes, and so also the travel, because a lot of countries have travel bans. So traveling within India, of course, is very important. Just the other day, I was chatting with my group of friends and old school friends, and they did say that let's travel within India if possible, as we can't venture out. Yes, so this is what I feel, and I feel that the way forward would be to be a bit more calm and bit more selfless towards these corporate hotels. Yeah, I feel very bad for them, and I really have my sympathies with people who have been sacked and grounded. You know, it's a very sympathetic times for them. Yes.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely agree. Do you think corporate travel will bounce back faster, or do you think
Yes,
leisure
it
travel,
will.
or do you think leisure travel will bounce back earlier than corporate travel?
The inbound to India would of course be severely impacted for the next 6 to 8 maybe 1 year. But within India, the domestic travelers are always so impatient. They can't be cooped up in their houses and their living bubbles, hygiene bubbles, which they are in. And I think the inbound within India domestically will boom, which is already started showing good signs in Goa, for example, and Jaipur and all these beautiful places. And of course, corporate would take a hit back, and it will. Everybody has to just wait and watch and be calm, I would say.
Thank you. Thank you. Sana, facility management, loosely housekeeping services, as a lot of people would call it, but it's beyond just housekeeping services, right? And one of the fewer industries besides home chefs that have actually grown in the last 6 months is yours.
Yes.
Not that you guys wished for this kind, to be growing at this times, but when I say growth, is I think suddenly people have realized the importance and really understood what facility management can make a huge difference. You want to talk to us a little bit about your industry and how the last 6 months have panned out, and what do you see the future changing? Are there demands from customers asking for better hygiene quality? And I don't know what better you guys can give, because I know for a fact that you guys are giving the best so far. All yours.
So yes, people are getting a lot more sensitive to housekeeping. I think earlier there was just this one particular segment where people thought it was a requirement to have professional housekeeping agency or facility management. But I think now, considering the situation and considering people getting paranoid about hygiene, everybody is now looking at the concept of housekeeping. People are getting a lot more sensitive about sanitization. And yes, I am seeing a lot of potential. I'm seeing a lot of demand. We've like I mentioned, we're banking on this period. I know it's very unfortunate, but we're just waiting for this lockdown to open, because I think for our industry it's going to be a boom. I mean, in whatever capacity offices or restaurants or hotels that are going to be functional, they're all going to be looking at the next level of hygiene or cleaning. And I think that's what gives companies like ours the potential to be further go on and expand our clientele and offer the best services. So we're just utilizing this time to fine tune our services and getting everything up to date, to offer the best qualities, to support the requirement, the demand that is there now. And yes, I think the industry is going to get a lot more. It's just going to wait, and it's just going to boom once things open up. And people are already doing their research.
No, I know that. I know how busy you guys are. It is you've been one of the toughest ones that I have had to chase in getting in touch with. No, I was just kidding. I like putting you in a spot, but no, thank you. You've been very sweet and always return my calls and messages. Thank you very much. Inam, well, first of all, before I get you to speak, congratulations to you and Griffith India Middle East for having received an award on significant food safety and standards security, something which Vista Foods accredited with you guys with. Fantastic job on that for you and Team India Middle East. But largely speaking, on the food and beverage restaurant and food and beverage industry that you would overall represent, what do you think is going to take, how long rebound? You also live in Middle East and Dubai, and that part of the world is seeing things little differently than the recovery here in India. You want to throw some light on that for us, please?
To be honest with you, I do not have much of a view as far as India is concerned, but in the Middle East, I can see life pretty much limping back into shape, primarily being in the food ingredient industry. We are in the business of feeding people. So I don't see much of a change happening there, but I'm sure a reshuffle is going to happen. as to what the delivery format is going to be, or how people are going to, be in the business of feeding people. Because, we will not stop eating, plain and simple. Even though we are pretty much, sometimes we get bored at what we are having at home, and we look out and say that, okay, maybe it's time to step out, or probably maybe, we might be restricted to stepping out. That personalization, that what we actually learned in our hotel schools about, or in the hospitality industry about the personalized service. Maybe that is not going to happen in the food and beverage sector. But however, I feel that it's going to limp back into shape much more faster than usual, because with the norms and the rules and regulations in here, where they are saying that, okay, there's still going to be social distancing. Restaurants have reduced their limits of how many people can sit inside. So people are fed up of sitting at home or having takeaways. So they have stepped out. And today morning only, I was like reading somewhere in Europe, they have started actually normalizing things, saying that, okay, you might as well carry on. Even in Dubai as well, things have normalized. Yes, there are heavy fines if you break the rules, but most of the restaurateurs or probably hoteliers, they are abiding by the rules. And I think it's limping back into shape. And in 6 months' time, maybe I might be wrong, because they are talking about a second wave or a third wave. But I'm positive that everything's going to limp back into shape.
Good, thank you. I'm hopeful too. Sana, you've been in business development and sales and marketing and everything that comes along with that. And I've seen you really, really grow up. And I want to start with you on this part to ask about your thoughts. It's generally said that sales people are ruthless and emotionless. And this is going to come to all three of you. So you guys, the other two, can start preparing if you want to. But I can see you, so don't Google any answers, okay? I can actually see beyond the screen. So Sanaya, you want to talk about a perception that salespeople are ruthless? Are they really ruthless and emotionless?
Do you think so?
I have a very strong opinion on, particularly in sales and marketing, but I want to ask you.
No, I think this is just a myth, because I think, in fact, if you ask me, in sales and marketing, the key emotion is feelings. So if I have to walk into a property, the first thing that actually while I'm motivated that yes, I'm walking through this door and I want to get this business, the first thing that gives me the confidence is the vibes that I get in the office. It's very important for me to get the right vibes. And the second thing, as a sales and marketing person, it's very important for me to understand the emotions of the opposite person. So while yes, we do have the logic clear that the product, has to be there and you have to be convincing enough, but it is very important for me to have an emotional connect with the person that I'm speaking to. And it is very important for me to be able to place my trust and gain their trust before we even move on to understanding whether we can work together or not. Because I strongly believe that if I have to meet somebody, they have to like me to understand or give me an opportunity for my company to service them. So while they do say that sales and marketing people are ruthless, for me, the sales and marketing people have to be emotional. They have to be more realistic. And I think that's what has probably been our mantra for 20 years. And it's worked. It's worked well. Even, while I've been a sales and marketing person, every place that I've walked into, with the kind of, when I have been confident and I have gone with the attitude that, yes, this is something that I want, I've been able to walk out, and be happy and content with what I've walked out with. So yes, numbers are a part of it, but at the end of it, it's been that win that yes, I have been able to connect, and I am going to be able to add value to the person that we're going to be associated with, the organization that we're going to be associated with. So emotions is very important for me, even though I'm a salesperson. So
Sure. Thank you. Mahima, I want to twist this a little bit for you particularly, okay? When hotel sales, there are two parts. And again, I'm not being generalist here, but one finds them to have an air of arrogance around them. for some odd reason. Okay, and I can see you smiling away. It may be a put-on arrogance. It could be a hat that we hotel sales people want to wear. They want to come across as touch-me-nots, especially within the hotel that they're working. And they're very different when they're outside. But you want to throw some light on, the arrogance part, the non-cooperative part, if I may say so, and more importantly, on the ruthlessness that is projected.
Yeah, I like to, I would say. Yes, Satyan. Actually, in hospitality, there are again two different segments. There are luxury hotels and, of course, the regular hotels. I mean, I've been very privileged to work with very, very big brands like Leela Palace in Delhi and Oberoi Hotels. And then, of course, more international brands like the Hyatts. And, of course, the last one which I worked in my recent past was the Four Seasons. It's always the badge which you wear, as you say, the hat which you wear, which, I won't say which makes you arrogant and a little bullish, but it's the brand which speaks volumes. I feel I always used to tell my sales team, being the head of sales and marketing in most of these hotels, is the 50% of your battle is won because there's a big brand which is backing you, because people are aware of what the services they will get. But as Sana did mention, being a sales and marketing thorough professional in these 30 years, emotions really play a very, very vital role in our business, hospitality, because you're selling intangible services. The people can get the feel of it only when they experience it, right? So there has to be a very good mix, a balance between being bullish, because you have to reach your targets, the daily targets, monthly targets, and stuff like that. You have to play a very, very balanced role between the emotions and being assertive. I won't say bullish, but assertive. Yes. And of course, being we are living in a very dynamic world. If I don't immediately react to the business which is coming in, somebody else will. So one has to be very, very prompt, very dynamic, very, and also see through whether it is good business or bad business. Because all business is not yours. You have to make a very, very demarcation line which you can really play around. And then, of course, it goes a long way whether that business is really going to affect the hotel profile, whether it is viable for such clients to come into the hotel. Because, being luxury hotels, I've worked in beautiful hotels, we always look at these options. And of course, I always used to teach my team to very, very politely, and there's an art of saying no to a client. Maybe at that moment, the business is not right. Maybe in another time, it will fit in. So there's always an art which one has to learn. It comes to experience to say no to a client. It breaks your heart because you won't be able to do your target for that week or that day. But there is always a fine line where you can withdraw yourself and move forward. Yes. But of course, arrogance comes with the brand, and not on a personal level. And of course, you always have a support of your clients, and then understanding, because you need to understand the clients, their needs, their wants, and what is the benefit they will get out of what you're offering them in services. Yeah.
Okay. I don't sound to be cheeky here, but I want to thank you. First of all, thank you for that answer. But I want to ask you, and I really want to ask you, Mahima, why do 99% of the sales professionals, ladies, wear a pearl necklace every time they go out?
Oh my God, that is so passé. Now nobody wears those.
No, it is not passé, and that is why I'm asking you. It is not passé. I mean, what is it with pearl necklaces and everything that they have to?
That is why, Satyan, I'll be very honest with you, the big brands which I have worked with, especially the international ones, luckily they have sales uniform. So it is very unified, it's very uniform, and there is no pearl necklaces. Of course, if the brand says you have to wear pearl necklaces, you have no choice but to wear it. But of course, some Indian hotels which I worked with, Leela and Oberoi, they are very, very standardized because they do wear pearl necklaces. And also it's a part of grooming. It's very elegant, and it's I think it's very dainty. And as people wear pocket squares, the men, so it compensates with the pearl necklace. Yes, as you said.
Okay, I'll leave you with that. Much as I differ with, but my personal opinion doesn't really matter. But thank you very much, Enam. Your thoughts on salespeople being considered ruthless and non-emotional? Well, you have any thoughts on that?
Well, the first thing, I'm going to resonate what my colleagues out here, they just mentioned, it just sums down to two words. One is competency and the second was empathy. It's always going to be empathy, which is going to be the door opener. That's the one which you have to be on the same level with your customer or the person you're pitching your sales to. But however, when you're talking about arrogance, I think that comes with the competency level. Because I have seen over the years, and these are things, and especially from being from the hospitality industry, both probably Sana and Mahima will agree with me that over the years, the more and more confident you get with what you are selling or what goods or what services you have to offer, I think that's where the arrogance comes from. That hey, we are the best, we know what we are doing, and we know what we are selling. I think that is where sometimes I would say that it's the confidence which is mistaken as arrogance. A lot of people think that is being arrogant, but I don't feel that it is being arrogant, because it's the energy, it's the energy or it's the drive that you have, supported by the competency levels. That's what's gonna, once you have opened the door, that's the time when you walk in there, and when people try and differentiate between what else is available in the market and how people thought, and I'm sure that these are things which my colleagues also have heard it. Everybody's talking about, everything, we need something cheaper and stuff. But at the end of the day, that's where your competency steps in, where you say that, hey, at the end of the day, I know what I'm selling. I know the services I'm offering. And that's where my competency takes over. And often that comes across that, to a third party present out there who has probably not much of a history as far as what the discussion has happened, or somebody as a bystander, they might feel that, maybe he is too arrogant about his attitude. It's more about the attitude. Sales is all about attitude. And this is what I feel, this is something which I learned, especially from the hospitality industry. I think this is something where that's why in a lot of sectors you find people will always look out for ex-hospitality sector people, to come in, especially in customer-facing jobs. I think that's pretty much
good. I'm glad you brought this up, and I'm going to go backwards with you now on the next point, which is kind of correlated. Okay, and 90. I'm just not throwing numbers, but this whole topic and this whole thing is very, very close to me. But 90% of people in sales, if you ask them, they say we have no competition. Either they are living in La La Land most of the times, or they are too arrogant to even know that there is competition or to even acknowledge. How do you handle that on a personal level? Do you acknowledge, all three of you? This is coming to all three, but I'll start with Inam on this. That how important is competition in your day-to-day business life, and how do you even keep in touch about what they're doing?
Absolutely. At the end of the day, I don't want to put it in a crude way, but, they say keep your friends close and enemies closer. To a salesperson, your competent is always your enemy. I'm not saying, this is just a joke, but yes, it's very important to know what's happening as far as competition is concerned, because you need to constantly evolve and evaluate the way you are probably going out in the market. You need to similarly, as you evaluate, you have to evolve. You're saying that, okay, we need to move on to next stage. Maybe this is something which it's coming from the competition, and that is where I need to probably reposition my offerings in such a way that I'm at par with what is available. There is a fear of missing out, especially among the customers, and they will always, and that is where, most of the competition or anybody else would like to probably try and monopolize. They want to go in there that, hey, we are the first movers, we have brought in something special for you, and we are the best, and we are doing the thing. But at the end of the day, I think the ones which eventually wins the race are people who have got a structured plan, and they are focused at what they want to get. And I feel like, again, as you mentioned the word arrogance again coming up, that arrogance, I think, I wouldn't call that arrogance. I think it's more about that a lot of people are confident about what they are doing, what they are selling, what they have to offer, and how confident they are or about their competency as far as solving the customer problems. We are not exactly, I wouldn't call sales as sales. A lot of people think about, okay, let's just take things and go to a customer and sell it. No, we are in the solution providing business. Everybody has got it. Even people don't have a room to stay, people travel, so they need a hotel room, and that's why we are out there providing solutions. Similarly, okay, there are cleaning issues at hotels or houses or service apartments, and that's where they reach out to Sana and say that, hey, we need your services. So that's the time, we know what we are good at, and that's where the arrogance part comes in.
Sure. Thank you. So let me clarify, guys. I'm on your side, huh? Sana, Mahima, and Inam. I'm not on the opposite side. So let me first of all clarify to you and the others, in case they're wondering why am I being so arrogant, if I may say so. Okay. For those of you who's popping in the questions, keep them coming. I'll take them in a little bit once I finish the first segment of the Q&A with the audiences. But let them come in. I'll take up the questions in a bit. Sana, you want to talk about competition and how you and your team handle competition or perceive it?
Oh, yes. So we keep a close check on competition. And I think what I do is when I meet a customer, they're obviously looking for a change because they're not satisfied with something that they're experiencing. And for me, it's very important to understand what is it that they're not experiencing so that they do not have the same bitter experience or the bad experience with me. So that works two ways. It also helps me build up a list of shortfalls with my competitors, which I have listed out at every given point in time. And it also helps me get better because, like I said, for me, it's a relationship and it's a long-term relationship. So I want to make sure that I'm here to solve your problem. Yes, to back the business, but I'm here to solve your problem. And like Inam said, you are looking for something in particular which you're not happy about, and therefore I'm here. So let me understand that and let me give you a solution to that problem. So in that way, I'm constantly keeping a check on what competitors are up to and what are the shortfalls. And that's something that I literally work on to make sure that I'm building up and making sure that these gaps don't arise in our business and in our nature of service.
Thank you, Sana. Mahima?
If you don't know first you have to determine who your competition is. It's very important for salesperson to know. Once you have set up those parameters, because you have to compare apples to apples. That's so important. If the team doesn't know or you don't know the USPs of the two properties or your competition, then you cannot gauge where you stand. I think our morning in any hotel, the morning starts with reading what competition has done for the last night figures, and the day ends what they have closed, because you have so much of data, you have so much of beautiful softwares nowadays available. So you're always comparing. I think 3 times a day, I as a head of sales and marketing, I used to sit with my revenue director and see where they're pacing, right? It's very important to know where you stand on a daily basis. Otherwise, there is no point because then there are no goal sets, there are no targets. You need to understand. And also, how effective is your competition? What are they doing things differently? If you're in the same league, you have to know what the products are, what upgradations they are doing, what new products they're getting into the market. So you have to be neck to neck. So our day never ends. Day starts and ends with competition. Yes, you have to know. That's all I would say. Yes.
Thank you. Good, you brought up the point about tracking apps. Okay, my next point is exactly on that. As salespeople, there's lots that's happened in technology space very, very recently, and maybe even more than recently. One of the biggest hurdles, if I may say so, or a roadblock salespeople or sales professionals feel is sales apps. Okay, they feel it's like a bandhan or it's like a handcuff around them. Sometimes they feel that sales apps are being forced on them to track their movement and track what they're doing, whether they're doing it or doing their work or not. But the bigger point that I want to make here is, are you guys using sales apps? Hotels do definitely, but more importantly, what do you do about getting the perception of your staff out of it, that it's not a tracking mechanism, but it's more of a tool to make you do your job better? And then after I hear all 3 of you, I'm going to come in with my comments on this, which I would definitely want to come in from my side. Mahima, you can start with this for now.
Yeah, for the hotels, there are beautiful softwares designed, very, very, I would say, effective in a way where you can say there is Delphi, there is Salesforce, which are very effective if you use it in the right manner. I would say like garbage in, garbage out. If you put rubbish, obviously rubbish will come out. It not only tracks your activities on a daily basis, but it also prompts you what has to be done. Certain things like a contract needs to be signed, or there's something sitting in a prospect, like a group is sitting on a prospect status. You need to follow up because there would be another inquiry coming in and you might lose business. So on that basis, I think the sales team has to, they have to put their inputs in the software. And also it gives you a very, very, at the end of the week, when you start doing some forecasting or doing reports for the management, it also looks as to what you're sitting on and where you need to reach. The goal setting, and these softwares really tell you on a personal level, if you sit back on a Saturday, which is a very unproductive day for sales in India. So you sit back and say that these are my KPIs and where am I going with my objectives and where my goals are. So I think on a one-on-one, I always used to sit with my team and say, hey guys, this is what you've done. This is what needs to be achieved. Or sit down with the revenue director or director sales and say that, this is how we can plan out further. There are, and it's a really great tool because you understand also pacing, how you're pacing with competition. Maybe they're way ahead or you are way ahead, or you can capitalize on the revenue part, the average rate part, if your hotel is, booming on those specific days. I think it's not about taking things on a personal level that it's, your manager is tracking you, your day-to-day activities. It's nothing like that. It's all about facilitating the growth and the revenue part of it. Yes, I would say.
Thanks.
So it's very important to keep the data clean and your systems clean. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Inam, you have thoughts on this?
I feel sales trackers, nowadays, I have one word, which is a key word, and that's communication. Communication is power. So what happens is when you use a sales app, it is managing half of your job for you. And this is what the prime intention of these sales app developers are. So when it comes to things like using a tracker as to where you stand, it's like, you don't want to play let's talk about a common game of football or probably a tennis. You don't have your eyes on the scoreboard. You don't know, what direction you are going or what direction you're taking. You don't know where you stand and how much further you have to go. I have seen a lot of people have contradictory thoughts about this. They'll say, no, it is something which slows me down. I'm like, no, it's something which is going to say that, hey, you are not on track. Maybe you need to hurry up a little bit. You need to speed up your movement a little bit. And that's what's going to help you achieve your destination in time. The second thing is about this time management. There are a lot of people, especially people like me. Sometimes you get so consumed in your passion of day-to-day interactions and stuff like that. You really don't have a track of your time. And when you have artificial intelligence coming here, who's doing it for you? I'm like, who am I to complain? I said, I might as well make maximum use of it and say, hey, use it. And maybe I'm also going to move on with time, with the new generation and say, yeah, I'm a part of the revolution. And that's it.
Sure.
So overall, I think, yes, it is a boon. And a lot of people misunderstand this. And I think it can do wonders.
Thank you. Thank you. Sana, does your industry use something like this, particularly with regards to sales?
So specifically sales, yes, we also use the Salesforce. I've worked on the Salesforce in the previous organizations. And this time in Sasha, what we've done is we've derived a customized ERP. And that is because of the fact that, Ina mentioned, communication is power. We need a scoreboard to know where we need to go. And if technology can help us, keep giving us throughout reports, it just makes a lot of our work a lot more easier. So yes, we do have a customized ERP. And I think one of the aspects that has changed in 20 years that I've been in this industry is that we now focus on data analysis. So while it's the FM industry, while it's housekeeping, we give a lot of importance to the data and data analysis. We sit through, we look at numbers, and we review processes. We we implement strategies. So it's just changed the whole outlook of running the business, and it kind of makes it a lot more challenging. It keeps everybody on the go because you're getting reports in real time. And I think that's the biggest advantage, when you're at a promoter level of running the business. You feel a lot more in control. You don't have to wait for, an MIS report, which would come in at the month end.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'm glad you brought in what you said.
Add in that, it's like a dashboard. When you're driving a car, it's like a dashboard as to where you're going, how you're performing on a daily basis or maybe hourly basis or whatever way you want to use this technology as. So it's never, I think it's only getting better at facilitating.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I am all game for technology. And I'm glad Sana brought up one point in particular, because that's where I wanted to weigh in, was data analysis. I think where a lot of companies falter is, whilst they give the app or a technology tool to their team, they forget to analyze what it does. Not only analyze themselves, but you need someone who is very sharp, who is analytical minded, who knows the business, and who will actually guide and help the salespeople to say, hey, this, like something that Inam said, yes, it's all of it is great, there's no doubt, but unless if I don't know where I'm going wrong, I'm always going to keep saying, this is a burden on me. And as I said, most of the people, and I'm not talking about you guys, I'm talking about generally in the industry. And there are so many salespeople on the road who feel that it's a tracker. They want to know where I am. They want to know which stops I've done, where I've eaten, where I've not eaten, etc. So I think the point I want to make here is to organizations and leaders that, whilst you invest in this, drill it down as to what happens, not only with the salespeople, but also with the team who analyzes it. Get the right people to analyze and get the analysis right. And then help the salesman or the salesperson to use that data towards a positive part. Okay, so here's my last part on this segment, and then I'll take questions and we'll move to the latter part. Have any of you been ghosted by a client? Ghosted as in they stop taking your calls, they stop taking your messages, you've been chasing somebody for a business, and suddenly they go. I can see lovely smiles from all three of you. So I know what the answers are, but great. Thank you for your honesty, at least for now. So, and how do you handle losing a client? Two questions in one. Sana, starting with you, Mahima, and then ending with Inam.
I think it's an experience. All of us, like you rightly said, every one of us has experienced something like this. But I mean, typically being a salesperson, like I said, at the end of the day, my intention is to basically get associated with a person or a company where I can add value, where my business can add value. And I do a lot of trainings, and therefore the CXO with my designation, because what I do is I listen to customers, and I also ensure that the same thing is relayed to the internal customers, which are the employees. And that's part of bridging the gap that most businesses have. So I, with the team that I have, that I work with, I invest a lot of time in talking to them, and I constantly keep talking to them about this, is that if we are not able to get a customer or convert a prospect, that's perhaps because they did not see the value, or we were not able to add value to them. And it's okay. It's okay, because like I said, for me, it's very important to be first have a connect with the person, the organization, be able to add value. It's not about just going there and bagging the business for numbers, especially when it's, at our level, at the promoter level. Yes, I do understand when marketing people have a target, but my team, even though they have certain numbers that they need to achieve, we're very particular about being able to add value. It's not about top line. So if I have to sign a contract, it's very rarely if you see customer retention with our nature of business. It's always been continuous.
Sure.
And I think that's the success of any brand or any business, the loyalty that a customer would have to be associated with you, as well as you to feel proud of that this is one of my first customers and I'm servicing them for 20 years now. And I think that's been the mantra and the success. And thankfully, I'm banked with an operations team that actually delivers. So I never have to go and make false commitments. Yes, I love challenges. So a client would come up and say something that is not in my bouquet of services, but I have the ability to go back and customize, the requirement and go back to the client and say, sir, I'll do this to you.
Sure.
And then of course I do not hesitate and say, so this is a cost that it goes behind managing it, which you have also heard.
Yes, thank you for saying that and reminding me. I have always had a little difficult time with you on costs than with Sheldon. That's why I call him more often than I call you. But thank you for your honesty. Mahima, your thoughts on this?
There are many incidences I can go on, and I maybe write books on how people get ghosted. I think it's maybe miscommunication at times where people they don't understand, or there's a miscommunication on the part of a salesperson, or they had a previous history of you've been over committed and under delivered kind of situations, where salesperson is trying to grab the business, and they at times there are no operational support, especially between sales and operations. Also at times the client feels that maybe he does not have the ability to pay. There are no finances which is backing that operations for them to use our services. So obviously they get ghosted. They don't answer. They don't pick up calls. They are never available in the offices. And when you can actually see them, they might be in the cafeteria or somewhere in the smoking area, smoking away to glory. They avoid because they have no answers for you. Or they're just being very prudent.
How do you handle such situations, and how do you feel about it?
I feel once they come on the phone and they are being very politely told that this is the situation, maybe not at this point of time we can take your business, maybe another chance would come up, maybe in the lean season or in summers or maybe the weekend business. And there are times where you can convert these into opportunities. They become your very close clients. They become your very, very close guests because they also understand your nature of business. When the hotel is doing 100% occupancy, obviously the first person who will be told to, who will be told to walk out would be a low-paying guest, because you need to maximize revenues, right? So they also understand the business. Once you explain it to them, I think it's a mutual win-win for them and for the hotel. Yes.
Sure. Thank you. Inam?
I think hearing from my colleagues, I think again I go back to the first word that I used, which is empathy. So when you step in through the door and come across as a solution provider rather than a single sort of, you try to pitch in with a single product or a single thing. Try and apply this in all aspects of life, all aspects of sales. So what happens in a scenario like this? It's about building a bond. So as far as the ghosting is concerned, yes, maybe in my initial years, I had probably faced a lot of situations like that. Yes, definitely. Again, like one of my colleagues mentioned, when it comes to payments and collection and stuff like that. But over the years, once you build that bond, that's where people realize that, hey, I know Inam as a person. I don't know Inam as who's selling me a particular XYZ product. So if I'm having a solution, maybe he is my knowledge bank, or maybe he's my data bank. He can guide me in a situation. If I come a situation that I've come across and I don't know a solution, I would want to create a sort of environment where they are willing to pick up the phone and give me a shout and say, hey, I know I'm not, I know this is nothing related to you, but what is your opinion on that? So these are the times. Similarly, when I call people also, so it becomes, this is by human nature. It's like when you're good to people, when you extend your positivity to people, and you're willing to step out of place, to accommodate their, even though they might, their issues or their solution might not be even be involved with what you're doing. It might be involved something to do with maintenance, or probably electricity, and or probably any other unrelated areas. But if you are willing to go out there with your ever since, as I mentioned, the word empathy, it's very important for me. And that's where, the chances of ghosting automatically drops. Where if today at whatever time, if I call up people, even if they might not pick up the phone, but they always call back. and that's same. I mean, that's something which applies to me as well. You don't have to buy. I'm not. That's why I said I am not a salesman. I'm a solution provider. I'm coming there to make your life easy. And at the end of the day, if I am coming across and coming across with an image like that, I'm pretty much on everybody's speed dial and say, okay, let me call him and see what's the situation. So yes, there is definitely this. This challenge is there. Yeah, there are always the rogue elements. 1 out of 10. But as I said, that it's all about how you come across or how you perceive, and definitely you get things in return the same.
Super. Thank you for all the positive answers, all three of you. Really like them. So I'm going to take a break here and I'm going to move to some questions. Mahima, Yazid Gandhi's waved out sometime back. He's here in the house. He says, hello Mahima, how's you?
Hello. From Akhait, Melbourne. I told him that we have a special bonding between director sales and marketing and executive chefs.
Yeah. No, but thank you, Yazid, for joining in from Melbourne. It was lovely. Last week, this time you were on the show, and I remember that very fondly. But thank you so much. So, Mr. Simmons, thank you. Sana, he says, hey Sana, good to see you on CC with SD. That's Mr. Simmons. And we have Mr. Mohan saying, go Inam. Rajiv Seth is also in the house. He's raising the hand amongst the other people. Vivo, someone with Vivo, whatever. Milind, thank you for your compliments. Okay, I'm moving to the questions. So this question is for you, Sana, from Mr. Sham. He says, do you see the facility management function extending into work from home services from companies who want to show employees that they care for their new work environment?
Yes. So to answer your question, Sham, yes, in fact, during this time, we have got a lot of inquiries from corporates where, they have their employees working from home. And we are working on a solution for the employees who are working from home, because they are looking at giving them the comfort while they're at home, to provide them some kind of a solution. So yes, we have got a lot of inquiries and we are working on a solution which we will soon be launching, called the Home Care, wherein we will have solutions for employees who are working from home. Either those could be routed through the companies. The companies could have that as an employee benefit if they decide to continue to work from home, or the employees could actually avail of the service directly. We're working on ways and means that we could launch. So yes, we do see a lot of potential, and we're already working on this, and you should hear soon from us on the work from home for employees and the launch of a home care service soon from Sasha.
Okay, thank you. So there's another question from Nirmala. Hello, all panelists, and to Satyen. Hi, Nirmala. Thank you for joining in again. Question for Ms. Sana Kazi. Will automation play an important role in facility management going ahead? If yes, are blue-collar people going to lose jobs? Is there anything that companies like Sasha Integrated can do to ensure that a balance so people don't lose their livelihood due to automation?
Yeah. So Nirmala, thanks so much, and it's a very thoughtful, question, and I'm so glad you asked this. Yes, automation. People are looking at automation, and we are also trying to find good solutions, and good solutions that we could bring to the table by introducing a lot of automation. But honestly speaking, I think automation will only improve efficiency, and that need not necessarily mean that blue-collar staff would lose their jobs, because like I mentioned, our industry is getting a lot of recognition. People are getting very sensitive to the fact that cleaning needs to be given importance. We need to mix in sanitization with cleaning. And if there is a service provider, like us, that would have all of this together, I think we see a lot of potential of growth. And, touch wood, I've been in the industry for 20 years. We've always had more contracts to service and less people, so that I could honor those, contracts. So yes, as our commitment, we assure you that, we want to keep growing, and we will ensure that we do our bit to make sure that blue collar staff don't lose their jobs, they get their rights, and we introduce good sufficient amount of automation to also increase the efficiency of cleaning around. So yeah.
Very well said, Sana. Very well said. And I'm saying that not because of anything else, but I know how you guys are functioning. And Nirmala, just to reassure you, I know for a fact that Sasha Integrated Services have not let go of any single employee in the last 6 months. I don't know whether Sana said it or I missed hearing it, but I'm saying it on Sasha's behalf.
Thank you so much, Satyan. I miss saying that.
Okay, I'm going to move to probably the last part, and it's going to take a little longer for us to discuss this. It's all about money. Okay, so metrics. There's this general tendency that once salespeople agree to a budget, which they themselves make, or they agree to, when they can't meet the budget, they start finding excuses. Okay, I'm not saying that. Remember, I'm on your side. Okay, general feeling that when salespeople agree on a budget and they can't meet the budget for whatever reason, they start whining. How do you tackle something like that? I want to start with Sana. Sana, at a larger level, and especially at the top level that you are as a promoter, you set targets, you have salespeople doing targets. I know you're in a very different industry as compared to Mahimas and Inams, and I'll come to them separately. But I would want to understand you at a promoter level, if I may say so. And how do your salespeople handle missing targets? And do you judge them because of something like this?
So, and I think everybody needs a target because we all need a goal that we need to achieve. So that's one fact of coming together and being at a workplace. Having said that, as a promoter, we always keep some amount of a cushion. So I always know, I always keep a cushion sufficient enough that I don't have to, underperform. So that's something that I do at my end to make sure that, largely numbers are met. But yes, I think one way to handle it is we use a lot of technology. So we continuously keep reviewing numbers. We do this on daily basis, weekly basis. We do it at various aspects of the business. So manpower deployment, contract, at bid level. So we do it at various aspects. So in our nature of business, the loss is not always in not getting new business. We also try to ensure that we're delivering to 100% capacity of the contracts that I have. So I, honor every contract that I have 100%. So a combination of monitoring all of this keeps us in check. Yes, there are times that numbers are not met, but then in our nature of business, it's also very seasonal. So, at the end of a quarter, usually they cover up, or, largely towards, there are a lot of corporates that sign up contracts mid-year. There are a lot of corporates that sign up contracts at the beginning of the year. There's some who follow the, the calendar year. There are some who follow the financial year. So fortunately, this industry doesn't see that much of a variation if you have, a team of people that are constantly looking at numbers. So I think there was one point put forth on the question answer segment where data mining and data analysis has to be done with the right set of people. I think that's something, if we do, we're able to have control over the numbers, and you're able to deliver to at least 80-90% of your targets of the year. And at times we have also been able to achieve 160% of the target of the year. So I remember year one wasn't too good, but year two in Sasha, we grew 160%. So we've learned from this. That
I just, I wish there were more business leaders like you guys who will be so understanding and accommodating, which is not the case with me in real life. But that's what makes you guys special. So stay that way.
Thank you so much, sir.
Inam, you want to weigh in on sales professionals, budget, whining, and then Mahima taking the last pot at that?
Yeah, this is something, Satyen, I think this is a question you will hear and you get all sort of answers. First thing, yes, as much as the effort is good, effort is important. You don't want to come across as a person who's only looking at the end number and finally not valuing the effort that has been put in, because what happens in a scenario like this? Automatically, the other guy, I mean, the rest of your team will always tend to be demotivated. But however, there is I mean, at the end of the day, there's always a saying, you don't pay money to dig a well, till the time the water doesn't come out or till the time your oil doesn't come out, it's like fruitless. So yes, it is. I think both the sides are important, and you need to have equal emphasis as much as to encourage people to put in more efforts. But here also, it's all about making sure that the whole team sees a common goal. The challenge happens is when people don't see a common goal. If the rest of your team, they understand, because that's why they say sometimes you will have leaders who will want to put their own numbers and later on just pass it on to the team and say, okay, here you go, this is what needs to be done. So that's why the whole exercise is there, where people say, okay, we need to involve the rest of our team and we need to understand what are our challenges. We need to see what previous data says, what are the trends, and based upon it, yes, there's always a situation like this pandemic. This is not like man-made. This is not within our this is not within our grasp. You don't know what things are coming. But yes, we go out there with a positive. We go out there with a positive feel, saying that okay, we are here to win the war, and if it happens, it happens. If not, it happens. But at the end of the day, we also have to keep in our mind that the end number is important, and it's only when we achieve those numbers, that's the time when all our efforts that we are put in, is something which was worth talking about, rather than people just writing you off and saying that, hey, it was whatever you did was rubbish. And so this is my take on the whole thing.
No, thank you for sharing that. Mahima, you have any diverse views on this?
Well, I can only say, Satyan, if you have the pulse of the market, very, very close pulse of the market, what your competition is doing, and also what your team is doing, I think on a day-to-day basis, you can easily gauge where the team is going towards the revenue targets which has been set for them. Also, to analyze if you feel that there's a dip or they're not meeting their targets, or there's a dip in the revenue, one need to sit and analyze why is there a dip. You need to sit and analyze where the market trends are going, or there is a shift in paradox or travel plans. And I think that also has to be related to the senior management very immediately, so they understand what the whole scenario is, not like wait for the last minute or month end, or it has to be very rapid, as the sales is very dynamic process. Also, if you don't cover up your budgets or targets for the first quarter, there are also seasonality in our business. Summers are very slow. The winter starts getting so aggressive. So it also depends on what is your, what are you forecasting for the other 6 months. So you can relate back and tell the team that, now we need to progress forward and take a quick march to the market and get some business in these certain months, which are looking buoyant. So you need to analyze every nook and corner and see where the trends are of the past year and how the future the trends are looking in the market. I think that's the only way. Otherwise, obviously, the people will, as you say, cry and say, we didn't meet the budgets. But you have to focus on what lies ahead also, if you haven't filled the bucket. Yes.
Sure. Thank you. Mahima, there's a comment for you. If you can open the Q&A and read it yourself.
Okay.
And you can respond back to that.
Sana, I don't know who's...
Last one. There are only 3 right.
Okay. Irfan says he loves my glasses. Well, it's getting a bit dark here. So thank you so much.
Okay. Great. So thank you for that, Inam and Sana and Mahima. I want to, moving to the last leg, which is also probably balancing a couple of things. Is one thought I really wanted you guys to share is, do you feel that salespeople need recognition externally and internally? And they thrive on recognition. Whether a job is done good, bad, ugly, they just want to be recognized. Particularly salespeople. And when I say sales marketing, you have thoughts on that? And please be candid. Yeah, go first.
I'll go with this. I think, yes, it is a must, because especially being involved in field sales over the years, a lot of efforts are put on, a lot of, as much as, as I said, if you can see the common number or rest of the team shares the passion behind driving that sales, they also put in a lot of effort from their side. So in a situation like this, yes, we have to take care of the people so that they don't lose out their motivation. They don't lose track of what they have to achieve. So as much as constantly, as I said, that we have to show them the scorecard and say that, hey, this is where you need to speed up, this is where you need to slow down. But so the moment that involvement is there, where you are telling people, hey, you are doing a fantastic job, but slow down a little bit, it's okay. We are going on the right pace. So a little bit of word of appreciation, when you're talking about rewards, a little bit of word of appreciation can also come across as a huge reward. It's not always a monetary reward, or it's always not a recognition. And this is something, previously having managed a big sales team, or previously working with a lot of people in sales, or when I speak to my colleagues and stuff, when people sit down, from my friends in the industry, when we sit down and when they talk about things, and I feel that, okay, yes, this aspect is extremely important.
Sana, I want to have your thoughts in, because I know you guys have a fantastic rewards and recognition program, and you guys do a fantastic job of that for your teams internally.
Thank you.
But even at your level, at any level, I'm more interested in the human level. Do you crave for recognition? Do you crave for a pat on your back as well?
See, I think who doesn't? Who doesn't? Everybody is here not only for the position that you have, but everybody wants to be appreciated, and that goes not only for a sales job, but in our nature of business, I would say even the support function, the shared services, even the blue collar employees for that matter. And that's one of the mantras that we have at Sasha. We have a very strong rewards and recognition program. And yes, in our nature of business, we start with building the rewards and recognition program downward. So the janitors have a very strong rewards and recognition program. And we do feel being, in this business, you deal with human beings, and they are our assets. And I think it's very important for us to appreciate and recognize the hard work and the effort that everybody puts in. So while the salesperson goes out, for example, if I go out and get any business, at the end of the day, it's the team that has to deliver and promise, deliver what I've promised to the client. And they need to be recognized equally, because while I've gone and backed the business, at the end of the day, they are the stalwarts that are actually ensuring that the business continues. So I think rewards and recognition has to be, we have to change our perception of employee engagement. Employee engagement is not about just getting together off sites and trainings. It's also about taking time and appreciating the hard work that everybody puts in the organization, because they're brand ambassadors. And I think if we have a few people who are not keeping up to that notch, it does not harm us. It only benefits the company by training them and motivating them and getting them up to the level so that they also back that appreciation for the work that they do. And I think that's the success of any organization. So we've been strong believers in rewards and recognition programs.
Thank you. Mahima, sales and marketing people craving for recognition. Your thoughts on that?
All the time, Satyan, it's actually it's a lot of tears, sweat, and blood. This is what hoteliers are made of, right? So I think a little pat on the back, not waiting for the month end to give them a pat. It's like on a daily basis. And something which I've really learned is in one beautiful brand called Four Seasons. It's called celebrating your gains and losses. So if in a particular day, a person would say, hey, I lost that group to a competition, we would all celebrate that. it's it's also the person who has worked so hard to at least get the group, who's the person handling that group, getting to see the property, doing FAMs. So much of hard work has gone in. Okay, we've made one loss, but that motivates the person to to go forward and get another group or another piece of business or whatever. There's a lot of emotional depth in this. I think it has to be celebrated. I think
Sure.
it's a daily process. And for me, I always felt it. It has to be done immediately. You don't have to wait. It has to be done as a group or as an individual, but it's a must do, I feel, because we are dealing with humans and their behaviors. Yes. Thanks. Yeah.
Excellent. Mahima, I want to bring in a point, and I'm sorry if it's a little off the cuff, but you've been baking in the last couple of weeks, right? And you got your passion to do what makes you happy, and you're doing it as a commercial venture. You want to talk to us a little bit about that, and once your life is back to normal, what's going to happen to it? Are you going to continue with 1 foot here and 1 foot there?
Satyan, thanks a lot. It's a very, very passionate venture I've just initiated, just 3-week-old baby. It's called C'est Moi, which is, it means it's me. It's not about me, it's about us as myself. It's a very, very close to my heart because, I was always love baking since half days, as you would know. And, I always carried it every year. It was something different. And of course, when I was in Paris, I would take these weekly weekend courses on bakery or day course on quiche or, things like that, which kept me going. So I used to always do it for my friends and family. And of course, when I was in Delhi and other places for my neighbors. But then as COVID started and more people around me as friends always started asking me, can you bake me something? Because we are so craving for home food. So it grew from a hobby now to a small little business, as I mentioned. And as I mentioned, it's just pacing ahead. I would say I never anticipated, because Bangalore is very new to us. We're just 2 years old here. And so it has really grown into a very passionate business for me. And as you said, pat in the back or people getting feedback. The minute I send the order, I actually wait for the feedback. I didn't know, the chefs actually wait at the table to see what the guests are, being fed well or what their feedback is. I feel the same. So it's very, very, I think once the things go back, I would say I would continue my full-time career as a hotelier, because that's what I feel God has made me as a hotelier. But I would also like to keep on doing this on a weekend basis or, some long weekends or whatever. I will continue my C'est Moi story. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. So here's a confession for the first time, Mahima. You'll recall that as in HAFT, we were all, our roll numbers were alphabetically, and we were all more or less in the same batch, right? You were with B and Asim Dixit, myself, Anita Frankowski. So, well, Asim and I used to fight in the bakery whose bread we will take, because we had a choice of yours or Anita's. And each time the teacher would pass away, move away, we would grab either yours or Anita's and present it as ours, because most of the times, both our breads either flopped or they sucked, and we would keep fighting. So each time, 1 week it'll be you and 1 week it'll be Anita, but shared between Asim and me. But that's a confession for the first time here for you and for everybody else.
So both of you can finish bread to Bombay.
Yes, we will be happy. Thank you very much. All right. Yeah. So I'm going to take the last part, and then I'll move to the open questions that are there. Every organization invariably has a thought on sales. Everyone besides the salespeople think that they can do a better job of sales. Everyone who's not in sales will give an advice that I could have done this better. I could have cracked this deal. I could have done this sale, with a higher price, better, faster, better margins, etc. How do you guys tackle that? I know you all face it, but on a very personal level, how do you handle that? Sana, it probably doesn't come to you directly, but do you have something like that in your team? And maybe you could have a quick answer, but I would love to have Mahima and Inam weigh in on this.
So, yes, we do have some kind of benchmark that we need to achieve. But then, like again, Inam said, empathy is very important. Like I said, emotion is very important. For us, it's, when I say emotion, it's more energy and motion. So yes, it is important, but at times, when it's a click, when it's a brand, we're like, okay, let's just go and start, because what drives us is challenges. What drives us is appreciation. And when we know that we are able to create that difference, as a salesperson or as a team, we do have the ability to go back and say, so here you are, this is where it was, this is where we are now. And now is it due that I can get my due while we agree. And these are terms and conditions that a lot of clients agree to, especially in our nature of business, where we are fortunate that they get convinced that okay, let's start off and let's review after 3 months. And touch wood, the operations team, Sheldon and his team, are able to deliver and wow the clients, and I am able to get the worth that is required, or that we agree for in between. So yeah, touch wood.
Great. Before I move in, and I don't know whether he's still there, but Mahima, for everyone. So that's Shyam. He says, great listening to all three of you. Mahima, nice to see you again after 25 years. Good luck with your new venture. I don't know if you remember him. That's Shyam from Oberoi's.
Manager he was.
Yes, and he's also my mentor and my ex leader. And he wishes Inam the very best as well. Good luck with you. Sorry, so that was for you, Mahima. And he says, Inam, always the star shine on. Sana, very eloquent and passionate professional. Good to hear your thoughts. And all the very best, Satyan. Great job. Thank you, Mr. Mohan. Truly appreciate you taking time and joining us on this finale episode. Right. Mahima, last part of the question for you, and then Inam to wrap up.
I would say that it's always about communication. It's nothing to do with anyone on a personal level. If you feel that certain things can be done, I think it's better to sit down with operation team, because actually sales is sandwiched between clients and operations. So it's always, you're the middle manager. So you middlemen, I would call ourselves. So it's better that you take what the clients want, and if it can be operationally delivered, because you cannot overcommit and under-deliver. That's really not the ratio what we follow here in the hospitality. So better we see what the options are, and if it's feasible, then you take it forward. As a collective, on a collective basis. It's not never saying that, in sales, we can't do it. It's never we. It's the operation team, because they have to back you up. Because they have to, we commit to clients, and they have to back you up with their deliverables.
Sure.
Yes.
Thanks. Sorry, thank you very much. Milind, I just missed your point, but I'm reading it out. Thank you for putting it in. Yes, data mining and retrieving is very critical, so we can understand the practical aspects from the panelists. Yes, I agree, and I think we touched upon that. I'm sorry I missed reading that out earlier, but thank you for putting that in, Milind. Inam, last thoughts on the last point?
I think this is one of the most common questions any salesperson anywhere will hear. That, okay, we could have done it this way, or we could have done it that way. But what happens is, similarly, like we manage expectations of our customers. Similarly, these are internal expectations which you have to manage. And this is basically summing up exactly what Mahima and Sana had said earlier, that, hey, you guys are important. Maybe I'm open to criticism. I'm open to the fact that, hey, you tell me, if there's a better way, and if I'm definitely going to consider that better way from you, and before while I execute my plan. So in simple words, it's like, as much as you're managing expectations of your customers, you have to also internally manage the expectations of your peers, or probably people who are working with you, so that you don't leave anyone disappointed.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Well answered, all three of you. And that brings me to the last part of saying my goodbyes to you and the audiences. So thank you, Inam, Mahima, and Sana. Really, really appreciate your time and the efforts taken. It has been a long wait, Mahima, for you particularly, to get onto the show. And sorry, I have had to juggle dates and seasons, but thank you for your patience. I really appreciate that.
Satyan, I've had it during COVID to be patient. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you to the audience who's listening in. I am very, very delighted for everyone who's come in today. Thank you for your wishes. Thank you for your messages. And good luck. Stay safe. And before I say bye-bye, I want to say, leave the audience, the panelists to say a few quick closing comments from your side, please. Sana?
Thank you so much, Satyan. It's lovely. I think this has been a learning experience in itself, and I'm delighted to be on this platform and share thoughts. And I'm truly motivated and all ready to go back and pat a few more people on their back and tell them they're doing a good job. That's the takeaway for today.
Super. Thank you. Inam?
I think this has been a fantastic interaction, first of all, to getting to know my colleagues, and how much our thoughts align being a sales professional. And secondly, I think I should definitely commend you, to do these mini chat sessions. This is like, this is the new normal, so instead of sitting over a cup of coffee across the table, I think this is the normal, and I loved every minute of it. Thank you very much. And thank you to Sana and Mahima as well.
Thanks, Sana. Thank you. Mahima?
Well, thanks for giving us the stage and the limelight, Satyan. It was really, really very, very interesting to get to know Sana and Inam, who are sitting in two different cities and two different countries. I mean, he's sitting in Dubai. Also, connecting with old colleagues is really opened a certain data bank in my head. And of course, I'll reconnect with them on a personal level also, and also giving us a platform to see what others are doing in these situations, and how encouraging these statements which Inam and Sana has put together. It is amazing, Thanks.
Super.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Rajiv, for that lovely comment. I'll speak with you in person on that. There are many who have asked the same question, but I will talk to you soon. But well, thank you for now. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, everyone who's come in today, and those of you who are going to watch this and listen to this later on. Inam, Sana,
thank you very much.
Mahima, thank you. Stay safe. Keep smiling and keep having your candid conversations. Signing off. Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye-bye.
See you.
Thank you.